Hi, everybody. Russ and the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Hope you're settling in nice to your Monday evening. And this is News at 10, where we provide quick headlines, some of the stories that have been breaking over the last 24 hours. Obviously, we had the ratings show at lunchtime today. And then we had Hammer's Headlines, which spoke about Danny Krajinski, who was also at the Chelsea game, as well as me, having a good old chat with the LLDC CEO, Lynn Garner, who own, and obviously LLDC own the, operate the London Stadium. Interesting conversation and a few transfer rooms as well. But obviously, Chelsea's finished. Let's move on to the Spurs game. And in terms of Spurs, their injury list is growing, similar to ours, actually. I think it's going to be sort of like War of the Wounded by the end of the game on Sunday. But we were handed another double injury boost going into the game on next Sunday, or this Sunday coming against our North London rivals. We reported that Hugo Lloris was obviously out for up to 8 weeks with an injury. But at the weekend, one of their key players, Rodrigo Bentancur, he will miss not only West Ham's clash, but the rest of the season, having been ruled out for the season, rupturing his ACL and his left knee, and will be out of action, as I said, for the rest of the campaign, as it was confirmed on the official Tottenham Hotspur website. Also on the site, it says that Bissouma, the central midfielder, who apparently snubs David Moyes in favour of a move to Tottenham in the summer, is also out of the game, as he is confirmed he requires ankle surgery. So that will be 3 key players for Spurs are out for Sunday's game. Yeah, let's. But obviously, we've got a few out, haven't we? In fact, Jonty Coleman had a piece today about the list up to, I think it's up to 7 players we could have injured. We'll go through them in a bit more detail quickly. But in terms of Gianluca Scamacca, we may be handed a bit of a boost in our wait to get our Italian striker back on the grass. Now, according to XOHU employee, obviously Scamacca has been absent for the last few weeks. He's had a knee complaint. He's had plasma injections into his knee. He was in Italy, in Rome, seeing a specialist, and apparently he'll be back, reporting back to training this week. So the club hope that, having met the specialist in Rome last week, he will be able to return to training this week. So that will give West Ham potentially 3 options of forwards, 3 different forwards, in terms of Scamacca, Antonio, and Danny Ings. When was the last time that happened, having 3 different forwards? I do not know. Obviously, others on the treatment table, going back to front, so to speak, in terms of the most oldest injuries. Obviously, Maxwell Cornet, he's back in Paris with a specialist working on his rehabilitation. He's been ill for a few days, so the likelihood is he probably won't feature for the Spurs game, but he hasn't featured for most of the games since probably, was it the Chelsea game at the beginning of the season? Was the last game he played, I think. When he came back to Rush Green, he was believed to be at 60-70% fit, so I don't think it'll be too long before we see. Maybe from the Nottingham Forest game potentially. That's obviously in a couple of weeks' time. We've also got don't forget Kurt Zouma. He's only obviously just returned from knee surgery, and obviously returned back for the Everton win last month, and now he's back on the injury table. Of course he is. A small tear in his thigh, apparently. And that was suffered during the first half of the Everton game. But Moisey was unsure of when he was going to be returned. There was a potential for him, a possible inclusion for the Chelsea game. That's what people were saying, but that obviously failed to materialise. And so Spurs was a game that he would potentially be penciled back in for. And that could, if Agaird's back as well, be the first time I would think Moyes' first choice back 3 would be available, in terms of Agaird, Zouma, and Tilo Kehrer. I thought Kehrer played very well on Saturday against Chelsea, but we'll see. Alphonso Areola still has a hamstring injury. Obviously, he wasn't in the matchday squad. We had Heggie and Jason Venang as the 2 goalkeepers on the bench, where we only had 8 players. But we'll talk about the 9th player in a minute. No that was suffered in training, I believe. No return date just yet for Areola. In terms of that 9th spot on the bench, that was meant to be Aaron Cresswell, who went down early morning on Saturday with a virus. So he's been ill. He'll be ill for the next few days, I'd imagine. That same virus apparently Declan Rice had, and ended up still playing 90 minutes and presenting an award at the Brits as well. So obviously didn't curtail his evening too much. Then the two most recent injuries, Lucas Paqueta obviously going off with an injury, a shoulder injury about 10, 15 minutes into the Chelsea game. Looks like a recurrence of maybe the collarbone injury he suffered back in October. So again, we'll wait and see the results. I believe he's going for a scan, and they'll assess the severity of the injury. I think the one we're probably most waiting on bated breath is Naya Faged. Obviously went off with 10 minutes or so to spare. Looked like a groin injury, unlike Paqueta, who obviously went straight down the tunnel. Again, went onto the bench and then walked down the tunnel, so it didn't seem as severe potentially. Maybe he was taken off as a precaution in the same way that Tilo Kehrer was taken off as a precaution for the hamstring injury he suffered in the Newcastle game, only to play 90 minutes against Chelsea. So again, I believe he's going for a scan at the moment, so we'll probably find out Tuesday morning in terms of the severity of both of those injuries. So it's going to be a war, it's like War of the Wounded for the Tottenham game, it seems, but we'll see what happens. One person who's been a bit busy running about everywhere is Mark Noble on Sporting Director. He was spotted watching Monaco versus Paris Saint-Germain, and speculation that maybe it's to help form the summer transfer plans. According to Get French Football News, who claim that Nobes was in attendance for Monaco's 3-1 win at the Stade Louis II Stadium against PSG. Alexandre Grovin scored, who we've been linked to before. Ben Yedder, who we've been linked to before. They both scored. But yeah, apparently Noble was an interested spectator, and West Ham fans will wonder why. There's a number of players there that we've been looking at. A good guess would be Axel Disasi, the French centre-back we were looking at. The Daily Mail reported back in January that we were showing real interest in luring him away from Monaco, with Man United and Spurs also thought to be interested in the impressive centre-half. Obviously, the goal scorer, Golovin, could be on the radar too if West Ham are looking for maybe some more creativity. They've obviously got plenty of other players. They've got Crepin Diata, who's like rapid and would definitely suit West Ham, and we need some injection of pace. Then there's a small matter of looking for a replacement for Declan Rice potentially. There's a number of players within Monaco, and they're in their sort of engine room of their midfield. Mohamed Kamara and Yusuf Fofana, both very, very good players. So there's half a dozen people we could be looking at. Signing Paris Saint-Germain players probably less of a start of a 10, I'd say, to be honest. But yeah, I'd say Disasi was probably the most likely who'd gone to see. We can speculate, but also don't forget that Mark Noble is also mates with the Monaco sporting director. He speaks regularly with him, particularly since he's taken on the role as sporting director, not only the Monaco sporting director, but the Roma sporting director as well. So don't be surprised if we see him over there, and having a glass of wine with the sporting director of Roma as well. Well, that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time. Tomorrow morning, we've got Holly's show, Tweet All About It. That'll be up. And then we'll be having the daily show, the Hammers headlines, and also news at 10. This week, we've got Smith, the YouTuber, the Tottenham supporting YouTuber, talking to Anton about looking ahead to the Tottenham game. Matt's a lovely guy. Some really cool content he does. So check out his YouTube channel as well, and we'll have him on Thursday with Anton and shooting the breeze. But take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, come on you irons, sweet dreams, and see you guys very, very soon. Bye bye.